What's up guys, Schmitty here, welcome back to another video, and as you guys saw in the intro, I officially have my own Control Freak discount code. So if you guys remember from a little while ago, I officially became partnered with Control Freak via the partner tryout, and I now officially have my code. So now if you guys ever get any Control Freak products, be sure to use code Schmitty at checkout for 10% off your order. It's crazy, I never thought I'd ever get to say that, but in today's video, I want to talk about unpopular opinions in Call of Duty. So if you guys are on social media, mainly Twitter, you'll see this thing go around a lot of unpopular opinions. And there will be a bunch of different editions, stuff around all kinds of different subjects. People leave their unpopular opinions, those in which the majority of people don't really partake in. And it can be kind of a fun thing to do, leave your own unpopular opinions and just kind of see what other people's thoughts are as well. And yesterday, a Call of Duty one started going around, or at least I saw a lot of people leaving their unpopular opinions with Call of Duty. And I took part in this in my Twitter as well. By the way, if you guys aren't following, be sure to head over, link in the description. But I went on to create a thread and I listed 10 unpopular Call of Duty opinions that I have all throughout the Call of Duty franchise. And so today, I thought I would go through them, kind of give some extra reasoning on them, besides just putting the blanket statement out there. I thought it'd be fun to go through them in the video. You guys can take a listen to my unpopular opinions, roast me down below in the comments, and down below, after you guys watch this video, leave your unpopular opinions about Call of Duty down below as well. And so getting into my unpopular opinions, my first one, Call of Duty Ghost was a few design changes away from being incredible. This is an opinion that I think a lot of people are starting to share more now about Call of Duty Ghost. Ghost was perceived terribly in its time when it came out in 2013. It just really wasn't anything exemplary of a game. But now looking back on, a lot of people realize that the game really wasn't that bad. And in my opinion, a few design changes could have made that game one of the best Call of Duties ever. I think if they changed things such as the time to kill, the size, and just honestly some of the design of the maps, as well as change some things graphically because the game just graphically looked horrible, and of course have some better kill streaks, I think the game could have been incredible. And those aren't that crazy of design changes, to be completely honest with you. And I think it was those things, at least for me personally, that kept the game from being incredible. But I think if those things were changed, Call of Duty Ghost would have a massively different opinion. Number two, this one is going to trigger a lot of people. COD 4 is one of the worst games in the series from a multiplayer gameplay standpoint. Now, this is me judging the game right now in this year as it stands. I know in 2007 it had an entirely different thought around it, and the game was a big thing for its time. And, you know, back then for the gameplay that it was great, but my opinion of it, as it is right now, is not very good. I don't like the way the game plays. I think the design of the game is terrible. The game does not have one good map in it. I'm one of the few people on this earth that hates Call of Duty 4, and I'm not like a new person to the Call of Duty franchise. I've been around for a while, and I don't like Call of Duty 4 at all from a gameplay standpoint. I recognize what it did back in 2007 and what it's done for the COD franchise, but I am not in any way a fan of the game and its multiplayer. Number three, Black Ops 3 is probably the second best COD of all time behind Black Ops 2. BO3 is my favorite, but BO2 is a better overall game. I love Black Ops 3. This is an unpopular opinion that I have and I've shared quite a bit on my channel. A lot of people know, if you've been around my channel for a while, Black Ops 3 is my favorite Call of Duty game. I just think it was great. It had an incredible multiplayer, a lot of good maps, a lot of different weapons. I absolutely hate the way that they implemented the weapons into the game through the supply drop system, but aside from that, just speaking of a multiplayer gameplay standpoint, I think the game was incredible. Got a lot of support, had a lot of fun things with it. The game was supported throughout 3 years when it wasn't even originally supposed to. I think it was incredible. Campaign was pretty lackluster. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It just didn't tie in at all with the first two Black Ops games, which I feel like right off the bat just pissed a lot of people off. And then Zombies was a massive thing as well. It had a lot of great maps in it, a lot of great DLC maps, and then of course it implemented Zombie Chronicles. I love Black Ops 3. I know it had a terrible supply drop system and it had advanced movement and specialists, but in my opinion, behind Black Ops 2, which I think was just the overall best balanced and great at all things Call of Duty ever, I think BO3 was a phenomenal Call of Duty. Number four, the ACR from Modern Warfare 3 is miles better than the MW2 version, and I also believe it to be the best gun in COD history. I don't understand when people argue that the MW2 ACR was better than the one in MW3. I don't know what you guys are on, but the Modern Warfare 3 ACR absolutely dominated. It was insanely overpowered. Don't know how it never caught a nerf. It had slightly more recoil than the one in Modern Warfare 2, but that's not saying much because the Modern Warfare 2 one didn't kick at all, so any kind of recoil would be more than what that gun had. But it melted. It killed insanely fast, like 3 to 4 shots easily from all ranges. You could even throw a suppressor on it. It did nothing to the gun. Very simple, very easy to use. Could use it at all ranges. The gun absolutely dominated, and I don't think the Modern Warfare 2 one has anything on it. I love the ACR for Modern Warfare 3. I think it's hands down the best gun in COD history. Anyway, moving on to number 5. Aside from the exo movement and the stat-changing variants, Advanced Warfare was a good game. Also had some incredible DLC maps. I mean, some of you guys know I think I last did an Advanced Warfare video right before Black Ops 4 came out, and I talked about how I honestly kind of like the game. I know it's not incredible and it didn't do everything right. Like I said, things like the exo movement I don't like. I don't like stat-changing variants, but I actually liked a lot of the aspects of the game. I think they did a lot of good things with it. It was a fun game to play. I don't know, just for me, I had a good amount of fun with Advanced Warfare. I'm not saying as it stands now, it's like just one of the best Call of Duties, but for me, like, I enjoyed it. I think it's probably toward the top of the middle of the pack for me for Call of Duty games, and the DLC maps in it were amazing. I love the DLC maps in AW. I honestly think it was a pretty good game. I wish things like exo movement and the stat changing variants didn't have to kind of ruin the stigma behind it. Anyway, moving on to number 6. Blackout is one of the greatest things added to COD ever, but the $60 price tag is killing its potential. You guys know I love Blackout. I mean, first of all, you have to like a battle royale to be able to like Blackout. I mean, I know a lot of main Call of Duty players are just kind of against battle royales, but I love them, and I think Blackout is one of the better ones out there, and I think it's been a great thing for COD, but the fact that it's locked behind a $60 price tag is just going to keep its potential to whoever's going to pay the money for it. The real COD fans are going to be the ones that want to play it, or the people that just really want to play Blackout that bad. It's not going to allow it to expand on different horizons and reach an entirely different player base because it's got a $60 price tag. It's the most expensive battle royale out there. And I just think it's great what they did with the mode. I mean, just being able to bring in a bunch of different areas and references from all around the Black Ops universe and combine them into one battle royale map that works so well, and the game is a ton of fun. I love Blackout. I'm so glad they brought it into Black Ops 4 this year. I just wish that they didn't have to lock it behind such a large price tag because I know it could be so much bigger. Coming in at number 7, this one isn't as unpopular of an opinion, but Infinite Warfare's DLC weapon model was the best of all the games. A lot of people like to argue Modern Warfare Remastered, and I can't for the life of me understand why. Infinite Warfare gave you the DLC weapons for free if you had the Season Pass, and if you didn't, you had to complete a challenge in the game that typically took you like 4 to 5 games at most, and then you were able to get the DLC weapons. You didn't have to go through some stupid crafting system. You didn't have to do any of that stuff. You didn't have to get them straight through supply drops. They were yours just by doing a challenge, and it added so much value to the Season Pass, like I said, because you got them right away if you had that pass, which is how a Season Pass should work. If you're going to have something of that kind of price tag, you should have the most access out there to all the stuff in the game. I just love the way that Infinite Warfare did that. I'm hoping that is the way they're going to do it if they have a Season Pass again, which I don't want them to, but if they're going to, I hope they keep that same model with Modern Warfare 4. That DLC weapon model was just great. I mean, it was the best thing about Infinite Warfare for me. Coming in at number 8, another one that's going to trigger a lot of people, MW3 was easily the best of all the Modern Warfare games thus far. Modern Warfare 3 is hands down my favorite game of the Modern Warfare series. You guys already know I don't like COD 4, and I think MW2 is a fun game. It's just so broken for me to say with a straight face that it's a great game, because to have something like One-Man Army noob tubes, things like Commando, things like Last Stand, all that stuff in the game, it's hard for me to say with a straight face that game is that great. Like, I think it's a very good game, and I think it's got a lot of fun, and I recognize what it did for Call of Duty, but I just think Modern Warfare 3 was just the best of everything. It was a great culmination of what had been done so far in the Modern Warfare series. It brought a lot of new things in as well, but stuck to that same Modern Warfare formula that we all knew and loved. I loved Modern Warfare 3. I think it was a great game. I'm hoping MW4 in some way just kind of brings that same feel. Obviously, I want it to be newer and not a copy and paste of that game by any means, but I'm hoping to get the same type of feel out of Modern Warfare 4 that I got in MW3. Number 9, Black Ops 4 from a multiplayer gameplay standpoint is one of the best in the series, but lack of support and overkill on the specialists are keeping it from its full potential. I came out right at the beginning of Black Ops 4 and said that I thought it could be one of the best Call of Duties of all time. At the time of playing it and enjoying the hell out of the game, I really thought this game had the potential to be the best COD ever. And I think had they fulfilled that with some support, and had the specialists not turned out to be as overkill as they are, or even had they not been in there at all, I mean, I think Black Ops 4 could have been something incredible. Obviously, there's other things as well, like the shady business practices of Activision, but I don't think that ties in too much to the game as people think it does. I think at the end of the day, the reason a lot of people are just burnt out on Black Ops 4 is they're tired of getting killed by things that are free kill streaks like the specialists, and the multiplayer is just not getting a lot of support. The game is fun as hell to play. I still hop on Black Ops 4 multiplayer here and there and play it, and when I play it, I have a good time. I do well. It's a lot of fun. But I just can't play it for a long period of time because I just don't feel the drive to play it, and I just feel like lack of support and things of that nature are just keeping me from wanting to play it more. And I think a lot of people can agree with that. I think the way Black Ops 4 is, I like the manual healing, I like the extended health. I think those are things that increase the skill gap, which me being a competitive mindseted player, at least in the fact of like, I want to win and I want to put the time in to get better. Those two changes to the multiplayer in themselves help increase the skill gap, which means the more I play and the more I work to get better, then I'm going to be rewarded for that. But when it's offset by specialists, and on top of that, you're just not really supporting the game like you should be and like you promised you would, it's hard for me and a lot of other people to enjoy that game as much as they could. Again, going back to my point earlier, thank God for Blackout, because BO4 would probably be a little bit more rough for me had Blackout not been implemented, but I stand by it. I think Black Ops 4 has great gameplay. It's just not getting the support it deserves, and the specialists are frustrating as hell to deal with. Finally, my last unpopular opinion of Call of Duty. The past era, for example, the World War II era, will never work again in COD or really any other game. And I feel single-player only games could be an exception to this, but I just feel there's too many limitations in anything that's not near, at, or after the modern era. I think Call of Duty World War II exemplified this. Like, I feel like people thought World War II would work, but I just don't think that era works. You're just too limited, because if you don't do things exactly how they were in history, people complain that it's not historically accurate. But if you stick too much to the history, then it's just boring. Like playing in that time period, in that setting, in today's day and age just isn't exciting for a lot of people. There's nothing flashy, the guns aren't that cool, the gameplay just feels stale and feels boring. I really hope they don't go to this era ever again in Call of Duty. I'm sure they will, but I'm just not a fan of the past era. I would rather go back to the future than playing a past era game again. I would rather have a fast pace with some flashy camos and some cool stuff that they can implement in the game to make it cool and make it different, rather than some bland and stale game. That's the vibe I got from World War II a lot of the times. I just feel like World War II games, at least from a multiplayer standpoint, don't work. Like I said, single player games, that's a different story. You can make a great story out of them. You can do a lot of things still with that era that are really cool. But I just think for playing it in a multiplayer standpoint of just doing that over and over and playing in that era, I just don't feel like there's enough there that's really going to intrigue people in today's day and age. That era just isn't anything exciting. But anyway, those are 10 unpopular opinions from me about the Call of Duty franchise. I can only imagine the amount of people I pissed off with some of these, but I feel like at least some people would agree with some of my opinions. I mean, that's the whole thing of unpopular opinions, is they're not popular and not a lot of people necessarily agree with them. But those are 10 of my unpopular opinions. Hell, I could probably come up with some more of them. But anyway, down below in the comments, let me know your thoughts on my opinions. Do you agree with some of them? Do you think I'm an idiot for some of the opinions I have? And again, leave your own opinions down below in the comments that you have on Call of Duty that would be considered unpopular to the majority of the community. But anyway, that is going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you enjoyed, make sure to smack the Schmidt at the like button down below. Subscribe button down below as well. Thanks for being on videos. Go live. Hopefully you guys all have a good one. I will see you guys on another video. So long, everybody.